The doors of the Love Church are now open. Dear world, you name it, we cover it from the world of singles to the behind the scenes of the greatest movie ever filmed, called Marriage. We dig into everything from dating 101. Why won't they commit? It's complicated. I can't do it if it's the three of us. They're a good person, but I'm not attracted to them in that way. 2, they really didn't disclose who they were before I said I do. How do I do this if they can't keep a job? The bills are paid, but the bedroom is suffering. Did I marry you or did I marry your family because we only can take care of us? Let's open up our marriage. Why do I have to buy into your beard gang illusion? You could have told me you were down low and we could have remained friends and not married. And last but not least, did you marry me or your pastor? Have we gotten your attention yet? If so, tune in to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio. Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you want to hear more of today's real issues in the world of love. The doors of the Love Church are now open.
What's up?
Right. How are you, sir?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there.
Good,
How's the
good,
weather
good.
been treating you over there in the shop, man?
Actually, it's actually gotten better. It's a lot warmer because last week we was in the below zero, sub-zero
Right.
area. Everything was
Snow
freezing.
culture,
You
snow
walk outside, basically
Right.
Eskimos.
Right.
But now it's actually a little warmer. We're gonna have a heat wave this weekend. It's gonna be in the 40s. Hoo-hoo, shorts. Tank top.
Short here, right? Be catch pneumonia somewhere.
Look, the black people ain't wearing no shorts and tank tops.
Right, you can forget that. Yeah, you can
Ain't
forget it.
nobody doing all that.
Yeah,
Shoot,
man. Well, all is well. All is well.
Good.
So, as we do, is there what are some looming things in the normal atmosphere? It's like, man, listen, 2024 has started off with a crazy kick, as we can see online everywhere. This is certainly the era of nobody's safe, all truth is revealed, everybody's dragged.
Right.
That's the era of it. It's just this is the hour of exposure.
Right.
So let's just embrace it all and go with the flow.
Yeah.
Let that be that.
I'm just bracing myself because this is an election year, not to be political with the whole situation, but
Yeah.
Lord, I'm about to, my passport is ready. So if I need to flee the country at any moment in time, my bags are already packed.
That's what's gonna be happening. Something needs to happen. All right.
Oh my God.
So let's dig into this thing. So let me first preface by saying this. Of all of my days in the world, to be blessed to be on the earth, I really haven't heard of what we're going to talk about today in the format of we hear people talk about somebody having emotions, somebody not. We've heard that for many years, but I haven't heard it quantified as an overall thing of saying it's emotional intelligence.
Okay.
I've never heard of it like that. I mean, I've seen some of these things that maybe some things I've passed online, and I've seen situations where I remember seeing one podcast where a woman was asking these men about why aren't you guys emotionally intelligent? And that's what kind of stirred my wheels going. So I started looking into it and researching it and things like that. And so here we are with this.
Okay.
Do you have it pulled up on your side? Maybe give people an idea of what it is.
Let me pull it up real quick. All right. So, what is emotional intelligence? So basically it's a term. The term emotional intelligence was created back in the 1990, by Peter Salovey and John Mayer. The notion stemmed from the fact that emotions have a way of controlling and diminishing our cognitive abilities in some instances.
Nice.
Okay.
Yes.
And so
go ahead.
And I was going to say they give the 4 important elements of emotional intelligence that we can talk about during the show. The first one is self-awareness. The second one is self-control. The third one is social awareness. And the last one is relationship management.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, okay, if we start from the self-awareness. Now, mind you, we're thinking of this from a couple perspective, right? Two people. If we're speaking about it from being aware within the confines of a relationship, or a marriage,
Mhm.
it's basically, when I hear self-awareness, it's basically, do you have a pause as to what's happening? Are you aware of me? Are you aware of you? And
Okay.
are you aware of what it takes to make this circle go round? Because,
Okay.
there can be times where we could go to sleep at the wheel and the other person is pushing along and you just checked out. You're not really doing your part.
Okay.
You're not really connected, so to speak.
Okay.
That's how
Okay.
I see it. I don't know. You can
Yeah.
maybe, that's kind of before we go into the definition, but that's the way
No,
I think about it when I see it. Yeah.
yeah, no, I agree. I think self-awareness is obviously an awareness or a consciousness of yourself emotionally, but I don't think it's just limited to that. I think it's also including your partner, being
Yeah.
sensitive and aware of where they are emotionally. Because I
Mhm.
believe that the longer you are with this particular person, the more connected you become with them, the more sensitive you should be to them. And
Yeah.
so, you just want to make sure that you are aware and that they are also aware of you emotionally in terms of where you are and everything like that.
Good.
Yeah.
So we both have our perspectives. Now, here's what they classify it as in
Uh-huh.
research:
Okay.
self awareness, the ability to process one's feelings and comprehend how they might impact the decisions, thoughts, and behaviors of others.
Hmm.
Self aware people are often highly conscientious, meaning they are diligent and careful in how they speak and interact with others.
Mm.
Now, this right here can go out the window in most relationships,
Oh
because
Lord.
we'll tell you not this. You better. We'll abuse you in a heartbeat with something we don't like, and forget about the self awareness. We become
Right.
self absent. But
Okay.
anyway, so
Okay.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that's a good point to me. I mean, so if you look at it from where they're saying, it's basically, what I get is you have to make certain that you're carefully navigating the other person and they're
Yeah.
doing the like to you.
Right.
And it's not necessarily walking on eggshells,
Right.
but at the same time, it is being conscious enough to say, hey, let me make sure I'm doing this right. I
Yeah.
don't want to, I don't want to make sure take this for granted and that kind of
Yeah.
thing like that.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
you definitely want to make sure that you are, like I said, that you are connected to them and that you're sensitive to them. I think we live in a day and age now where, to be callous is a norm, where you don't have any sensitivity at all. You're numb to other people and they are numb to you. But if you're going to be in a relationship, I believe that it's a prerequisite, it's required that you are sensitive to the other person. You're sensitive to the other person's feelings, to what their thoughts are. You're trying to make them comfortable while they're trying to make you comfortable. And then, yeah, I think it's something that you should be doing on a regular basis, that we are sensitive and aware of one another's feelings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, before we go to the next part of self control, we'll give our perspectives. I don't know about you, but coming up, we was raised. Well, not necessarily raised, but in my inner city environment and just men in the area, men
Hmm.
of all statures and levels. When we talked about emotions,
Hmm.
it was something that was deferred to women,
Yeah.
and it talked about men as, well, don't be, I've seen people even correct and beat their kids, if their
Right.
male sons, if they were, stop that crying, what you
Right.
over acting like an old girl. And so the
Right.
women were referred to as emotional, the
Mm.
men were referred to as logical.
Okay.
He's
Okay.
the thinker, she's the feeler.
Okay.
That's kind of the way it came along. And so
Yeah.
I think, if we're honest, a lot of us grew up under that notion of feeling like, yeah, I'm human as a man, and I have thoughts, I have opinions, and I do have feelings. I do care, I do love, all of those things,
Right.
empathy, the whole thing. But at my core, I'm a little more reserved. I'm logical. Women could say, well, women probably could say, you guys can speak up, but women would probably say, from my perspective, is, they're going to say, yeah, I'm here. I have a voice. I have a say. I have a thought too.
Mhm.
But yes, I'm going to tap into my God given emotions and let you have it. Right. So it just kind of comes in different ways. So I don't know how you came up thinking about it, but that's kind of the way I was kind of taught coming up.
No, no, no. That's actually true. Yeah. So yeah, being raised as a male, yeah, you're raised not to show emotions, particularly when it
Yes.
comes to, crying or anything like that, or showing any type of affection. You're showed to be hard. You need to be
Yeah.
hard, son. Be
Yeah. Suck
hard
it
up
up.
in these streets.
Yeah, suck
But
it up.
they chew you up and spit you out. You need to be hard, son. So don't show no
Yeah.
emotion, man.
Yeah.
Show you a man. You tough. Yeah, what's up?
Right.
and then
Yeah.
women are again are more or less raised to be more emotional, or to be able to tap into their emotions more readily than men are. I want to say this from the outset. Neither men nor women, okay, are more or less emotional.
Mhm.
It all depends on your ability to be able to access your emotions. So women aren't necessarily more emotional, they just show emotions more.
Wow.
Because men have emotions, even though
That's
we
good.
don't always show them, we don't always express them, but we have emotions just like women do. But again, we've been raised to suppress our emotions. We've been raised not to display our emotions. So it often takes a while to peel back the layers to get that man to really express himself. Now, here's the thing about this. Watch this real quick. So we don't necessarily show, when it comes to emotions in the male part, when we show emotions, you notice how we show more anger or frustration when it comes to us, as if we don't have any other emotions but anger. Oh,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? But the reality is we also have joy. Okay.
Yeah.
There's also some love and some affection there. Okay.
Yeah.
So that, again, what I'm trying to get us to understand is, just because as men we have not been taught or raised to display or expose our emotions doesn't mean that we don't have emotions.
Right.
You see
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
if you think about it, it's like it's kind of yeah, you're right. But look at it this way.
Mhm.
In most cases, yes, men will get angry and they'll act out.
Right.
And then women will, so I guess what I'm trying to say, let me cut to the chase.
Yeah. Cut to
Do
the chase.
you
Come on.
think at all that how we were raised plays into how we display our emotions? Perfect example.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If a guy was raised around a lot of women,
Mhm.
he could be masculine, but because he's commonly used to seeing emotions on display, he
Okay.
may be more emotional.
Okay.
A man that may come from, let's just say he had a balanced home or what
Mhm.
have you, his mother and father, and so he got to see both sides. He
Right.
saw dad reserved, he saw dad lose his cool, he
Yeah.
saw mom reserved, he saw mom get emotional. So
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if some of this plays onto it, because I'd be willing to bet you that statement you made a second ago about the men and suppressing emotions, you'll have a faction of men that will say, "Nah, I can't ride with that buddy." But everybody has their own
Yeah.
piece
No,
of
that's
it.
cool.
Everybody
Yeah.
comes into it differently, and so yeah, you got to
Yeah.
look at it that way. But it's definitely a thing where and the reason why I'm going down this rabbit hole, and I don't want to get away from our reading our points,
I
but the
got you.
reason
Go.
why I'm going down this rabbit hole is because I have seen, heard, experienced all around where I've seen people say, oh, they want this person to be more, show more empathy,
Mhm.
be more in tune,
Right.
act like you care, be
Right.
more emotionally intelligent, whatever it is that you're doing. But
Right.
I've also seen the rhetoric of, if someone is doing that, how many times have we heard arguments or seen things on, whether it's on TV, whether it's on social media, where
Mhm.
we'll see women referring to men that tap into their sensitivity as
Okay.
soft.
Okay. Yeah.
You a blankety blank. If we're talking curse words,
Right.
you stop
Right.
acting like a this, or you
The
not no
punk.
real man. All of
Right.
those things go
Yeah.
against what you just said. So that's why I said, if it's like men are stuck in a position where it's like, what side do you want us to show up on? Do you
Right.
want us to be who we feel we organically are, or do
Right.
you want us to tap into something that some would argue is not our home base? The
Right.
word emotions as the preference for anything is not necessarily what you would refer to for a man. Men
Right.
are going to always say logic first. And you know, if you wanted to throw an argument out there when somebody's saying, well, are you emotionally intelligent? Well, are you logically intelligent? You know, you can throw an argument and say both sides, because we both are strong on both sides, right? We
Right.
strong on both
Right.
sides. So it just depends. But it's one of those things where you have to find that middle ground, meet in the middle, to be able to appease and work through the situation together. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're saying. So here's the thing, Charles. And I think this is something we also need to kind of like at least dip our toe into. I don't want to go completely into this, but we need to really kind of like understand where we're going with this conversation. And that is the fact that when you're dealing with people, when you're dealing with men or women, and they have only experienced one aspect of
Mm,
your emotions,
yeah.
or whether you've been an emotional person or not an emotional person. If they've only experienced one aspect, then to
Mm,
them that's normal.
mm,
And anything outside of that experience is abnormal. For
mm.
example, if I'm with a woman, and I'm sensitive, then she's going to say, "Yeah, you a punk because
Yeah,
you're
that's it.
sensitive." Because what I'm accustomed to says this is not right. You're supposed to be hard. You're supposed to be tough, because that's all I've ever experienced in relationships.
Yeah,
Okay, you see what I'm saying? And
yeah.
so what has happened now is that the abnormal has become normal.
Normal. That's
And
it.
we don't
Yeah,
know what the normal is, because the abnormal has been here for so long that that's what we become accustomed to.
yeah,
You see what I'm
yeah,
saying? And so
yeah,
now you have to kind of like rebalance. You have to redefine what it means to be a man or to be a woman and have emotional intelligence to the point where it is a balance of rationalism and emotionalism.
yeah.
You
Wow,
see
that's
what I'm
good.
at?
I think personally, none of us are at a place to stamp ourselves emotionally intelligent until we are able to say we have a wholesome, and I say wholesome, not partial, but a
Mhm.
wholesome grasp of one another's being, as a male, as a woman. The
Yeah.
woman understanding you, you understanding them in the
Right.
relationship. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, to me, when I think emotionally intelligent, I think this person is on it. They
Okay.
understand, they anticipate, they can meet me to the curve. When I start one sentence, they can finish it. When I
Okay.
get upset, they say, baby, it's okay. I got you, because they already understand how to comfort me because
Okay.
they've studied me.
Okay.
But the thing is, we say we're intelligent because maybe one person is more mature, makes more money, something, whatever the prowess advantage over
Yeah.
one sex or the other, we
Okay.
use that as the reason to be out in front.
Okay.
And really what it is it's just saying it doesn't matter who makes what, who does what. If you don't understand one another, then it's just like it's like being emotionally illiterate.
Mm.
Basically, you're not intelligent unless you're understanding and walking in this thing together.
Yeah. I mean, but
Yeah,
okay, so I guess I would take issue with that, because to me, intelligence is not necessarily knowing everything about that particular person. It's
yeah,
actually being open to want to know about them. And if I don't know, I'm willing to ask a question so that I can get educated and informed as to where this person is. And so if
yeah,
I presume to know a certain thing about you, but never inquire as to where you really are, then I'm operating in ignorance. You see what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah,
And so
yeah,
intelligence means I'm willing to admit I don't know something. I'm willing
yeah,
to say I'm ignorant about this particular aspect. I need somebody to teach me and educate me in terms of what's happening with you. Because again, my
yeah,
assumptions are limited based on past information. And so if
yeah,
I don't get updated with new information as to where you are today, not
yeah,
based off where you were last week, then I'm gonna make a mistake that I can't really afford to make, because I haven't really taken the time to ask you where you really are. So what I need to
yeah,
do is I need to begin to seek you out and
yeah.
begin to ask questions and be like, hey, what's going on?
But
Where are you? How are you feeling right now? I think that's okay to do that.
that sounds more to me like emotionally humble, humility. The
That's fine.
humility
Yeah,
portion is
yeah,
the person who says, I don't know everything.
Yeah.
When you think intelligent, you think operating at a high level. There's an expectation. When I hear intelligent, I hear there are some things we shouldn't be at this level anymore. We have gotten to hear, not that we're perfect, but some of these things we shouldn't have to revisit because we're grown folks, right? We have learned, haven't we been together enough? Don't you understand me by now? Because otherwise, that's the excuse we can fall back on and say, well, I'm still learning and growing. But the humble portion is what causes you to say, okay, baby, you know what? I don't know it all. You're absolutely right. So, this is good, though. Let's keep on fighting. But anyway, Joe, let's keep on fighting. But listen, this is relevant because I'm going to tell you, one of the things that I have ran into for years is I have been the culprit of, and this gets under my skin.
Oh, Lord, here we go. Y'all ready? Are y'all ready?
I feel as though if we're talking emotional intelligence at its finest, and we working this thing out, understand one another, walking it out together, fine. If I don't think like you, doesn't make me wrong.
Ooh, say that one more time.
In this day and time, people feel like if you don't anticipate the way I do, if you don't get to make the first move to do something benevolent like I do, what's wrong with you? And one of the things I always say to people is, listen, I know Steve Harvey has says, what's the thing about his book? Act like a, what is it? Think like a,
I didn't read it, so I don't know.
But the point I'm making is people have to understand that as a man, I'm going to show up like a man. True. And I don't mean that from a beating on the chest. I'm talking about my way of operating is different from yours. Your way of operating as a woman, as a nurturer, as a carer, as all those things, it's different. Right. And to me, it's like, which side of the bag do you want me to come out of?
Wow.
Like, yes, I know how to do all of those things organically on my own, but I don't need someone, and I'm not saying this is something happening, but in life it has happened. But anyway, the point, I don't need someone coming to me, scolding me because I don't act like them. And I tell people, do I got breasts and hips? I'm not you. You're you. I'm me. So I'm not going to respond like you do. You got to respect our differences. And I think that's one of the problems today. We don't respect differences. And what we do is we have given ourselves a false sense of security because we have a past that we can visit and say, well, I know this is wrong because this person did it. And when I was there, this person did it. And what I always love to say is with all of that compliance, they're not here today. Correct? That tells me the person went with you to appease you.
Oh, wow.
When people do what you want and you think that they're doing it organically, 9 times out of 10, people are doing it to appease you. Because when a relationship is over, they become someone you don't no longer recognize because you see them treating someone else differently than they treated you. That's because they catered specifically to your needs, not to who they are. You understand what I'm saying? And so if we true to ourselves and true to self, we can avoid all this foolishness. But first things first is let me show up like I am. And I'm going to let you show up like you are. I'm not going to be trying to control you or telling you how to be a woman and all these things. Do what you do best as God created you to be. And I'm going to do the same to me. But the thing is, we have to learn to get to that point where we're okay with that without going into the abuse and all this stuff like this, whatever. God. But you know what I'm saying.
No, so to your point, I really do believe that it's for like I said before, for me to assume certain things about you, is an error. That's an error because I haven't even taken the time to ask you a question. I haven't taken the time to inquire. Hey, do you like this? Would you like that? It's like this. That's actually a day one conversation. That's a day one conversation that never ends. There is no conclusion to that dialogue that occurs from day one. That conversation continues to the very end of the relationship.
Yes.
Okay. And so I need to remain within that dialogue to continually be informed and educated and updated as to where you are. One of the things that I told my wife when I first met her, and she has always reminded me, because it's the truth. And because I don't want there to be any misunderstandings, okay? I want to mitigate as many misunderstandings and anything confusing as much as I possibly can. So what I said to her was, I do not read minds. I don't read them. I don't read them, okay?
All right.
So if you're expecting me to know what's on your mind, you're going to have to open up your mouth and say what's on your mind. Wow. You want me to know what's happening in your heart? Tell me what's happening in your heart. Explain it to me. Okay, because listen, if I'm sitting here and I'm trying to ascertain your emotional state, where you are, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be 99.9% wrong every single time. The only way I'm going to be able to hit that mark is when you open up your mouth and say, I'm not feeling this way, or I want to do this, or I've been looking to do that. Why are you expecting me to know some things that you won't even want to open up your mouth and tell me? And then when I don't get it right, you want to penalize me. You want to crucify me because I didn't get it right. That's not the way this is going. Our relationships don't work like that. Listen. Yes. Even God says when you pray, pray specifically and ask for what you want. Yeah, he already knows, but you gotta open up your mouth and say what it is. Why are we expecting people to know these things?
But we specialize today in innuendos. Like I said in previous shows, instead of us opening our mouths and saying what it is, we are so good at coming through the back door. We see somebody post something, so we want to ask you an indirect question about the post, knowing we're pointing the question at you. But instead of saying, hey, I saw something today that reminded me of you, and this is how I feel, I'd rather you say that than bring up a question that leaves all this dead space. Okay, what's the bottom line that you're trying to get to here? Get to it. Or stop sending these memes in other shows of other relationship people that to try to speak your point. I'm not, I am absolutely mute to anything like that. If you're not saying it out of your mouth, not hearing it, say it out your mouth and let it be clear. You know, and that what I was going to say earlier was that book I was thinking about was Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man. What men really think about love, relationship, intimacy, whatever. Now I'm gonna be honest, and ladies don't throw a bottle at the window. I mean, at the window of your screen. But I'm gonna just tell you this: if I had to do a follow-up to Steve Harvey's book, based off of what I see out here today, just based off my experience of what I see, not just all of what I experienced, the book title would probably be "Feel Like a Woman, Hump Like a Man." I really think that's what it is. They want you to be able to have their spirit to a degree.
Is this our last show? This our last show?
This last show. They kind of want you to have the spirit to understand them, to be in la la land, be mushy, understand these things. But then, if somebody get the family wrong, take out the Glock, shoot, kill everybody, then come back to the bedroom and handle me. That's what it seems like the mindset today. And so until and think about it, if I'm lying, I'm fine. But I'm gonna tell you why I say that. We got all these comments out here nowadays where women are calling men saucy. This person is being, now there's this saucy turn. This person is being real this. And listen, Bruce, tell them if I'm lying, the men's character is on trial.
Wow.
I promise you. It's like we getting all of these things where women are saying men are transforming who they normally used to be to becoming these emotional beings all in their feelings. So this is where the chaos comes from. If you want us to be in tune, right? If we're in tune, that means something about that relationship gets tuned up constantly. Like any good piano around this country, keyboard or whatever,
Mhm.
it gets a healthy tuning. Like
Mhm.
organs get tuned, pianos get tuned to
Right.
keep a sound.
Yeah.
So in a relationship, to keep a sound, we have to keep tuning one
Yeah,
another.
that's true.
And so it's like we don't get around that. And tuning is being the best you. Tuning is being the best me. The male
Right.
and female clash together, we work well.
Yeah.
But if you don't do that, then what? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
it
Well,
gets
that's
a little
like with
weird.
your car, right? You have to take your
Yeah.
car every now and again to get the tires rebalanced, right?
Mm.
Otherwise, what happen is it'll throw your tires out of alignment, and it
Yeah.
won't be operating at peak performance the way that it should. So it's true with a relationship. You got to get a tune-up every now and then. You have to get realigned in your relationship now and again. You have to re-engage every now and again in order to keep that relationship viable and
Yeah.
alive and
Yeah.
exciting. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And you know, and here's the thing though. So the reality is, even though being married, I'm secure in my relationship, but that's not permission for me to be lazy in my relationship. It's not permission for me to be lackadaisical in my relationship. If anything, it means I need to become even more vigilant and active in my relationship to make sure that it remains a viable place for me and my wife to be. And it even means having hard conversations. It means talking about things that we don't necessarily want to talk about, but we need to talk about. It means addressing issues that have to be addressed, but also making sure that when we do those things, when we have those discussions, we have them in a safe place. We have them in a place where she doesn't feel threatened and I don't feel unheard, but both of us can do what we need to do to make our relationship as healthy as possible.
Yeah.
That's real talk. That's what I'm saying.
Wow, that's real talk. I mean, but you have to be, but that has to come from a mature place. Like what we're talking about today, the emotional maturity.
Yeah.
And so basically, that's where I refer back to where I say, be operating at a high level. To get to some of these places to have some of these conversations, you have to be at a different place. That's right, Bruce. That's right.
Bruce is on the warpath.
Put on the army hat. That's right, Bruce. Come on.
Bruce on the warpath. Bruce said, "The heck with it. Dominate them."
So no, listen. I'm gonna look. I might get in trouble for this, right? I'm gonna get straight down to the point.
Oh Lord.
Bruce is bringing up a valid point, but I'm not going to say it's the totality and what everybody may think and feel. I know Bruce, so I get him. I know where he's coming from.
Right.
But the reason why I'm not mad at what Bruce said and to a degree, because listen, these are things I'm saying things that I have either heard or seen or experienced. I've never said nothing that I've never seen neither the other. So the point is, look at you. So the point is this. So women will, I've seen situations where if you respond, maybe you're not saying what Bruce is saying verbally, and you're saying, woman, do this, I'm going to dominate you. But women certainly respond differently when you proactively do that without saying that.
Yeah.
Heck, people will look, and let's get the kids asleep. All right.
No, the kids are not asleep. It's 5 o'clock, bro.
Time to go to bed. Women will even say, I want to be, think about it. If you want to be dominated in the room, how does that not translate over if you're out the room? Like, what do you want the person just to transpose into a superhero when they go into the room? That's a thing that goes all day, 24/7. The domination is a mindset. It doesn't have to be verbally oppressed upon someone, but domination is it's a lifestyle. It just doesn't start. Heck, listen, people, we see it all the time. I'm trying to be clean as best I can. But anyway, we see where the women will say, do this, do that. All of these things are dominating, choking, grabbing, hair pulling. All these different things aren't kind acts. They're dominating acts. So the point is, outside of that room on tonight, there has to be a dominating a coexisting domination happening by way of him being, call yourself an alpha or not, but him being him leading that situation, like he said, and it's not abusive. Him leading the situation to a point where she sees him like, baby, go ahead. I love it. How many times have we heard women say, whether it's on your favorite movie or even to you, baby, do that again? I love it when you take charge like that.
Mhm.
They get inspired when you walk into your man kingness.
Okay.
But the thing is, what happens how do we get to a point where we're comfortable showing you a balance? Yes, we can rah-rah, but we also can cry.
That's
we
right.
also can sit in our car before we come in the house because we don't want you to see the vulnerability.
Okay.
Because we are afraid of what you will do with it if you do see it. I promise you. One of the things you would think I would have learned in life, I like to be expressive. And I call myself, whether I would argue down someone who tells me I'm not socially aware in relationship. I may play possum, but I see everything and hear everything.
Okay.
I'm very keen to what's happening. But what I understand to what's happening is, again, we are looking for this safe place to show up and be these men that you are wanting us to be. But but we're not supermen, so to speak. No matter how much we beat on our chest, we're human, we're vulnerable just like you. We want to be able to have a safe space where we can be vulnerable, emotional, strong, protective, but still not lack in the department of respect.
Okay.
We don't want to be disrespected for being vulnerable. We don't want to be, who wants to be called soft for being vulnerable? Who wants to be called, like you said, saucy or whatever, all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, Dion has it. Dion ain't gonna throw rocks at you next. Dion said domination equals mutual submission. She said, girls speak, they're gonna say, speak for yourself. Ain't nobody submitting to me. But anyway, I promise you, this is the thing. It's like we don't like the labels, but we love the actions. We don't want you saying it to us, but fool me enough and show me with your actions that you're actually dominating me, or don't run in this relationship and let it, because I do enough stuff as an independent boss woman. I don't want to have to come home to my man and show up as a man too. So show me that you can lead. So again, nothing wrong with that, but give the person their carte blanche to go forward and do what they need to do to show up this way without recompense, without these stones and all these different things. Because I'm just going to say this is, I may get some flack back for this one.
Oh, you're going to get the flack back.
I'm going to tell you what we have started to do that's become very unhealthy and toxic. Every relationship that dissolves doesn't deserve a label. And this is what I mean.
Okay.
Somebody in this relationship with you, that's their prerogative. It doesn't make them a narcissist.
Wow.
That's their prerogative. Because you couldn't understand them, because you didn't get a certain reaction from them, doesn't make the person a narcissist. It makes you incompatible. It makes them not that interested, not that into you, like the movie. All of those things. But it's the person is not necessarily a narcissist. Because if someone is in something and they don't want to risk something, they're going to go over hell or high water to keep it. Okay. So I don't know why people give praise to people they formerly loved, formerly been with, and why even waste your breath calling the person a label? They didn't want to be with you. Period, point blank. Or they would have stayed. Period. Or like Bruce said, or they used you. They used you out. But and that happens. But I think we all need to get educated on what a narcissist is. People realize it's more. Think about it. If a narcissist is truly a narcissist, and you've endured 1, 2, 3, 4, however many years with them, what does that make you? To have sat there and be captive willingly with somebody, without somebody chaining you up, you sat there with it. If that's what the person was doing. The point I'm making is not to talk about the victim, so to speak, but to say, if somebody was a narcissist, you mean to tell me it took you to the end of the relationship to figure that out? Wow. You didn't figure it out earlier on to walk away. You had to wait until you were done. That's the thing that we don't take responsibility for. A lot of times we haven't had enough of the medicine we're being fed. So
Okay.
we wait until we've had enough, and then we want to label you. We want to diagnose you after you've had your treatment. That's like going into a cancer center and being treated like a cancer patient and being told after 3 years of treatment, yeah, Adam, we didn't say anything to you, but you do have lung cancer. Hello, you can say that to me at the top. But I'm saying, but we do these things backwards.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
No. I think so. The only thing I would probably add to that is I think what happens is because of the fact. So we label the relationship whatever we label it, whether it's narcissist or
toxic or whatever. Yeah, toxic,
like that.
all this thing. Yeah.
I think what happens is we buy into our own emotional narrative of the relationship, which means I see myself as the one who needed help. I see myself as the one that was injured or damaged in the relationship as a result of the person I was in a relationship with. But my question would be, how often do we actually take responsibility for the things that we did that led to the demise of the relationship? And again, it buys into the idea that I have this emotional narrative that plays into my injury rather than me actually taking responsibility for the things that I did in the relationship that brought the relationship to an end. See, if you really want to be mature, if you really want to be grow up, if you really want to be an adult, yes, I'm ducking, I'm weaving, and I'm bobbing in this thing, okay? But if you really want to be mature, you have to be able to say, I played a part in the demise of this relationship. Hence, this is the reason why I'm no longer in a relationship with you. And maybe, just maybe, Charles, maybe I was the one that was narcissistic. Maybe I was the one that was toxic in the relationship. And this is the reason why the relationship didn't last. I think it's important, again, especially nowadays, that we are cognizant of the narrative, the emotional narrative that we tell ourselves, that we want to believe, that the reason why I'm not in this is because of what you did and what you said and how you treated me. But how many times do we say, I'm not in a relationship because I did this and I did that and I blew it up and I sabotaged it and I didn't treat you right and I abused you? Let's be real about this thing, y'all. Let's be real. Listen, if you really want to have a really good relationship, be able to take responsibility. I think somebody, Dion said, be accountable for what you've done.
That's it.
Be absolutely accountable for what you've done and own what you've done. Say you're sorry for what you've done so that you can get your healing, you can get your closure, so that you will be prepared for the next relationship that's coming in your direction.
Which brings me to the perfect segue. The reason that all of what you said continues to evolve and continues on is because today has become a day where we love to bask in the seat of the victim.
Oh, yeah.
The victim is the best seat in the house. Nowadays, victim has so many benefits, so many things that come. Oh, they did what? Oh, my. Yes, they are a narcissist. Oh, they are so toxic. You're right. Now, what's going on? Let's go on and go to Miami so we can start this all over again. But the point I'm making is that's what this whole thing is. It's like, rather than be diagnosed, because listen, by no stretch of the imagination is it an easy thing to sit and listen to someone give an opinion of their experience with you. It's not an easy thing to hear somebody say, well, I didn't like this because you know what, you are like this, and it is no fun thing to be around. People will be like, what? Wait, me? Because we all have built our lives for years to think highly of ourselves. So once somebody says something that reduces that reality, it's a problem. And I think rather than us take accountability and have that conversation that sometimes may lead to a healthy closure,
how about
we'd
that?
rather just say, bump that, you this, going about your life, and I'm going to go over here and get back together again because you are the worst. And now I'm going to come out with a thing called Surviving Person X. You get my drift when we just need to be honest and just say what it really is, you know?
Yeah. And again, let's be honest. The reality is, you know, we were in that relationship because we saw value in that person. We were in that relationship because we saw the possibility of what could be. But because things did not work out according to our expectation, doesn't mean that person in the relationship was trying to do you wrong, was trying to take you out. Things happen. Life happens. Okay. And you need to learn how to handle it in a way that helps you get over it and move on to the next thing. Why are we remaining bitter in things that don't even really mean anything anymore? That person has moved on. They done got married. They done graduated. They done moved overseas. They're not thinking about you. And you sitting there on a couch, crocheting, embittered and rehearsing the bitter memories that you had. And some memories you made up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're buying into your own emotional narrative. Come on. When are you going to take responsibility for what you did? Get some healing and some accountability in your life so that you can close that chapter and start a new one. That's all I'm saying.
It starts with, you know, the question, the other part is, you know, we started off with, this is part of the self-awareness part. This is being self-aware of who you are. We all know the things that we struggle to excel, to be great at in relationships. Some things we're good, some things we need work. And it would do wonders to tell your partner when that thing comes up and maybe you can tell they're getting a little frustrated with you because you're not showing up. Then you just say, listen, babe, or dude, or honey, I'm trying, right? But I will admit, this is an area that I struggle with. So if you don't mind, please, let's walk this out. Be patient with me. Say that rather than quickly jumping back and blaming the other person. And, you know, it starts to feel like a sword fight, like a dueling match. It's no longer comfortable. And if you know anything about a sword fight, that means somebody's getting poked back and forth. And that don't feel good. To keep going through when somebody's verbally jarring at you. And you're like, wow, can we get to a place of resolve? That's it. We don't have to keep going through this and all this kind of stuff. And so we left off at, I know we going down a rabbit hole. It's self-awareness. We always do. Self-awareness. I'm gonna go through this real quick. Self-control. The ability to cope with stressful situations and remain clear-minded to effectively deal with situations that elicit strong emotions. That means something crazy happens. How do you respond? This element involves the skill of using emotional information in decision making. That self-control part is major in relationships, because if we can be aware all day emotionally, but if we're not in control, that thing will just dissolve so quick before we can get to any other part of this whole 4-piece, narrative. If we can't get past self-control, if we can't get these attitudes in check, these responses, doing too much overreactions, all of these things. And then nowadays, forget about trying to work something out. Nowadays, if we feel as though something is too much, nowadays, well, you know what, we can just, if things not gonna work, can just be done. Why not take accountability and fix it? Why? Because if you're being done here, I guarantee you're gonna be done the next 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Because you're showing you're incapable of working through a process. I don't care if you flip to the next dude, the next chick. If you don't deal with that internal work, it's going to happen everywhere. It may not happen the same cadence of time, but make no mistake about it. If that thing is in you to not address you, it's going to show up again and again, and you're going to continue to be on the cycle of single. Make no mistake about it.
Wow. That's good, man. Because honestly, if you allow your emotions to control you and to run you, and you're always emotional, making emotional decisions, moving in a way that's uncontrolled, and there's no discipline there, Yeah, that's a serious problem because you're going to
Yeah,
end up running into people that don't want nothing to do with
deal
you
with that. That's a lot.
because you're chaotic. You're uncontrolled. You're undisciplined in terms of what you do and how you do. And
Yeah.
so you got to be able to be able to pull that thing back. And but let's be honest though, Charles. Let's be honest about this. We live in a society that's kind of uncontrolled, and we kind of do anything
Yes.
willy-nilly. We just kind of out there. Nobody wants to engage their self-discipline. Nobody wants to employ being able to say no to certain things or deny themselves certain things. We all just want to run around and just do everything, and we just
But you know what part of that is? Part of that comes from this social environment, which brings us to that next one. It says social awareness. But before we get there, this social environment that we live in has created a lawlessness in relationships.
Wow.
When I say lawlessness, nowadays, instead of having to have the conversations or to take the time to have the discussions about how you offended me or hurt me, now it is, oh, you know what? Guess what? Screenshot drag, even a DM, so-and-so. Oh my God, that's what's happening in front of us. We're not resolving anything.
No,
we're dragging everybody. And that's such a cowardly way of dealing with disagreements. Yeah. But nowadays we're dealing with them to a degree. But when our tempers flare up, now it's time to be dragged. Now it's time to be ridiculed. Now it's time to be labeled. It's a three-step funeral happening in these relationships. So that's why we got to change these ways. And so under the topic of social awareness, really quick, the ability to understand and identify emotional cues from others. Those who are socially aware understand how to motivate, engage, and connect with others on a deeper level.
Yeah.
So that means the more conscious you are about your reactions, the more deeper the relationship.
Well, it goes to the fact that we're not posting what's happening in our relationship. When I'm upset, when I'm angry, when I'm mad, I'm just going to post this on here and I'm going to let the chips fall where they may. The next time they do that, they're going to know that they don't want to mess with me because I'm you got all the courage to post all your dirty laundry for everybody to see. Yet you lack the courage to go to the person and have an honest conversation as to where you really are.
Yes.
But you want to play the victim, though. You the victim.
Yes.
You the victim.
And all that really proves is whether you're a man or a woman. Anybody with common sense, I don't care how fine, how cut up, built you are, whatever.
Right.
Whoever sees a person reacts this way and drags someone else, make no mistake, people aren't ignorant. They know you have the fortitude to do the same thing to me.
Right.
So meaning all that happens is you fell in love enough or fell in lust enough to be connected to this person to the point where you didn't want it to be over. And because it's not over and you didn't win, because we need to have a whole nother show about the win-loss column. That'll solve a lot of these relationships. Like in the NFL, we call teams with a losing record suck, fire the coach, trade the players. But in real life, people show up with losing records and we don't say nothing. But the point is, why is it a losing record? What's not working? What's not being addressed? What's not being exercised to be perfected? So we need to have these kind of conversations to talk about these relationships a little further in, because like you said, we're going into these things and we're not even making it through the list because like I said, we can start off aware, but we melt down that self-control and then the social awareness part, we halfway make it to the deep part because we stuck at the childish grown people. Nowadays, we have so many grown folk tantrums. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
People 30, 40, 50 and beyond have downright yelling matches because they didn't get their way. It's ridiculous. Like, are we kids or are we grown-ups? Like, let's kind of be respectful in how we relate to one another. But that's today. It is the cutoff game today is terrible. We rather crucify you than heal us. That's the
Wow.
sad reality. I'm ready to crucify you, and I don't want to heal me, but I'm gonna kill you.
I'm gonna
And
kill
I'm gonna
you.
keep on doing this
Woo.
unless somebody comprehends who I am and do what I want them to do and
Oh
love me the
my God.
way I feel that they should love me. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
that's why I say to love me like a woman and hump me
Wow.
like a man. That's what you stick to.
Oh
That's the
God.
hashtag, Bruce. That's the thing. You gotta pick a side. Because
You
think
know
about
what?
it, I bet you that concept would change if you said love me like a woman, think like a and hump me like a man. If he put on a dress, you'll change your whole position on it.
Oh God, I don't
Make
want
no
to go in
mistake
this
about
direction.
that.
I
Yeah,
don't wanna go in this
change the
direction.
whole thing. Yeah,
Jesus.
but go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, listen, y'all, we're not trying to victim shame nobody. Listen,
No, we
understand.
just
We understand
no,
there are real legitimate victims. But
for sure.
I think the focus of this is the fact that I think we have played the victim card all too often.
For
And
sure.
we refuse to take responsibility for the things that we have done.
Yes.
Because these are the things that lead to maturity. These are the things that lead to growth. These are the things that lead to personal development so that we can become better people. So again, when we get to the next relationship, we're not bringing all that toxicity, all that vitriol, all that poison, all that injury and damage that we experience in past relationships into new relationships.
Yes.
So at some point in time, we have to shed these things. We have to let these things go. We have to unpack this baggage so that we can be prepared for the next thing that's coming in our direction. And I'm gonna put it like this: not even just regarding relationships, but for those of you that are pursuing entrepreneurial visions. You're looking to start your own business. Those of you who want to go back to school and finish college. Those of you who are looking for promotions on your job. I guarantee you, what we're talking about today has an impact on all of those areas.
Yes.
All of those areas. And I believe because we are not a people that are prepared emotionally to deal with some of the negative aspects of those, we're not going to be prepared to be able to succeed in those areas. So it's not until I really begin to rid myself of whatever toxicity that I have that I become ready for the next thing that's coming in my life, whether it's home ownership, purchasing real estate, whatever that is. You got to be ready for it. You can't keep dragging stuff with you because I guarantee you it's slowing down. It's slowing you down. You honestly should be further along than where you are. But because you want to continue to play the victim card, what can we do? What can we do with this?
Yes. Sister Chandra of the church says, love in peace. In an ideal world, that's what we should be, loving one another peaceably.
Yes.
So the last thing, and that's the last parts to this we started off with self-awareness, and I posted this stuff in the chat, self-control, social awareness. Now the fourth and last one, relationship management, the ability to cultivate a positive environment for others and effectively, and I repeat, effectively deal with conflicts. That means when conflicts arise, we don't get dismissive. We don't get upset. We don't get highly emotional or highly too logical. We come to a happy medium and reach a grown, intelligent resolve.
Yes.
That's what we should do. And last but not least, this thing was referred to was, you know how we say, oh, this person has a high IQ. Well, if you look at this, how this thing is researched, they're calling emotional intelligence having a high EQ.
Yeah,
that's what they're referring to in an EQ.
Yeah, EQ.
So
that's the thing. That's the thing.
Yeah, man.
I got you, Bruce. I got you.
I
got you, man. I got you, bro.
This was good, y'all. This was good. No, this was necessary because to me, we talk about a lot of things, but how we show up emotional is how we go from the starting line to how we continue and how we end. So this is a lot to learn from and pick up. I hope you all really look at those because I've been studying those things that I posted. It's some really good information in there about how to really show up healthy. Yeah. So just my take.
Let me. I don't want to say this one thing. Just one thing. Just
okay.
I really for those of us that are listening, that are watching, if you find that you are having some difficulty in terms of expressing your emotions or even dealing with your emotions, I would encourage you to seek therapy. I would
Mm.
encourage you to seek counsel. I think sometimes we take it for granted that, you know, everybody's okay emotionally and we can express ourselves. But some of us have been through such traumatic experiences that it has hindered us.
Mm.
It has hurt us. It's injured us. It's damaged us emotionally to the point where we don't know what to do with our emotions. And when we do express our emotions,
Yeah.
they're just completely out of control.
Yes. Yeah.
I would encourage you to seek professional counseling, seek therapy. I think nowadays, with the world that we're living in, we need to take care of ourselves emotionally, absolutely, and mentally.
Yes.
And so, in that regard, it's important that we make avenues in terms of looking for professionals that can help us sort out
Yeah.
our emotions.
Yeah.
Whether it was a traumatic childhood, whether it was an abusive relationship, or even addiction.
Yeah.
We need to make ourselves available to these resources that we have so that, again, when we walk into new relationships or we walk into new positions on our job and we're starting new businesses and entrepreneurial endeavors, that we are a whole person and
Yeah.
that we can handle the responsibility that has been given to us in a way that blesses those that are around us. That's really all I want to say.
Adam, indirectly, I would say this was the altar call. And I guess
Hey, whatever
where
it
the
takes.
sisters at? The sisters come down to the front and no, I'm just kidding. But anyway,
Leave it to Charles. But
he extended the altar call. And so now, since nobody wants to come to the Lord, we're gonna go have the benediction. We appreciate you guys.
Charles, you gonna put the oil on them? You're gonna anoint
That's
your
it.
head with oil?
Jesus, take me to the wall. No, but anyway, so we appreciate you all for attending today and listening and no, we loved how you guys communicate back and forth. That's how we grow the conversation, and we always enjoy all of the very wise input that you guys add to the show. We couldn't do it without you guys. So on that note, we'll definitely be back next week, same time, same channel, 4:30 on Thursday. Spread the word, tell a friend,
share,
and we'll continue the show. The show topic reservoir is growing with some really good stuff. So stay tuned for some good stuff, and it should be really really great.
Cool.
All right.